interesting, and it's more that I'm reading about different styles and different European regions that, you know, these beers came from, and the reason why, you know, the monks, they had their beers that they were producing because during Lent they were fasting. So for them to drink and not eat, it was like bread. Liquid bread is what they called it. And to me that was fascinating, something I didn't know that's why they did it. And they made them stronger. The more that they learned that filled them up, then the stronger the beers that they made. Certain areas of Belgium that, you know, a saison that's made in the spring for summer consumption was for the workers that were going to be harvesting the fields. That was going to be their beverage. So it's cool history behind it all.
Hit him with the history of IPA.
There you go. Well, the IPAs, yes, the Indian Pale Ale. It was the colonies that were settled in India. They, you know, the English that were there didn't have the beers that were back home, so they
were transporting the beer. So yeah. The trade between England and India meant that obviously England had to float their boats all the way down and around and through the Mediterranean and get over there to India, right? And the water got nasty. They were getting scurvy. There was problems. I mean, they were growing bacteria in their water. They were storing water in wooden barrels. And so they needed to figure out what can we store in these barrels. And so the first round of beers that they sent down there were actually exploding the barrels. And that was through the warmth and the fermentation process that was reactivating from primitive beer would blow up their barrels. And so they found a way to increase the hops and increase the bitterness. And anyone with Google can prove me wrong. But basically the legend has it is that the hoppier and the more bitter that the beer was, the less likely it was to have a reaction to the heat, because basically you're kind of killing the yeast in suspension. But they didn't even know that yeast was what made the alcohol in beer back then. They really thought that it was just water, hops, and barley, and that this was a spontaneous reaction, the fermentation of the beer. And so with the absence of scientists and modern technology, they didn't really know what was causing that reaction. But what they knew is if they added more hops, that these barrels would not explode by the time that they got over to India. Plus, they could have stronger, safe water that these people could drink. Plus, they'd get drunk off of it. So what we found out later was that the addition of the additional hops and having so much hops in the beer actually retarded what the yeast were doing in the barrels and caused less of the CO2 exhaust and no more explosions of your barrels. And you could actually take beer from England all the way to India, and it was good by the time you got there, and they could drink it all the way. And actually the antiseptic qualities of hops actually helped these guys from not getting scurvy. Alright guys, so we're going to keep putting these videos out there for you guys. If you have any questions about the beer that we make, or if you need any answers about the beer that you make, go ahead and hit us up in the comments here and we'll respond back to you. Also make sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Instagram at Local Craft Beer.